Tonight, a seismic shift in foreign policy. Canada and its allies recognize Palestinian statehood. The conflicting reaction at home and abroad.
I felt like we got sucker punched.
It's not right to only recognize one of the two states.
And Mark Carney's rationale for the symbolic move. The massive memorial to honor the life of a conservative activist.
He's a martyr now.
I forgive him.
And the message from Charlie Kirk's widow. Plus, taking a therapeutic approach.
It's really been shown to improve people's moods, help relieve stress.
How Alzheimer's patients are channeling creative arts as a powerful form of medicine.
How much is that doggy in the window?
CTV National News with Heather Butts. Reporting tonight, Marcia McMillan.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the historic announcement from Prime Minister Mark Carney. Canada will formally recognize a Palestinian state, with other G7 allies following suit. The declaration comes as the UN General Assembly meets in New York. Reaction has been mixed, but the Israeli Prime Minister is very clear it won't happen. CTV's Colton Prail is in New York with more on why Canada says now is the time.
As Mark Carney prepares for the 80th General Assembly of the United Nations, Canada will recognize one new state at this year's meeting. This morning, the Prime Minister recognized the state of Palestine, led by the Palestinian Authority. In a lengthy statement, Carney said the long-standing expectation that Palestinian statehood could be achieved through negotiations has steadily and gravely eroded.
I felt like we got sucker punched.
The mother of Alexandre Luc, a Canadian killed in the October 7th attack, says the decision to recognize Palestine so close to the second anniversary of the attack and on the eve of Rosh Hashanah only adds to her anger.
We still have hostages in the dungeons of Gaza. They are actually starving. We still have a Hamas. There needs to be a democratically elected, non-genocidal government before you can even discuss something like this.
Carney blamed Hamas and what he called its violent rejection of Israel's right to exist for slowing the possibility of a two-state solution, but also pointed to the expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank, a vote passed by the Israeli parliament calling for the annexation of Gaza, and said Israel has contributed to a humanitarian disaster in the enclave.
As long as the occupation continues and no one is forcing Israel to end the occupation, their statehood recognition, it doesn't really change anything in their daily lives.
Today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu repeated his assertion there will not be a Palestinian state, even as the United Kingdom and Australia joined Canada in recognizing Palestine, part of 10 countries, including France, who plan to do so this week. Government officials say while Canada now recognizes the state of Palestine, it still has a no-contact policy with Hamas, much like Canada's position on Afghanistan and the Taliban. Colton Prail, CTV News, New York.
The recognition comes amidst another deadly day in Gaza where at least 40 people were killed, according to local health authorities. Israeli strikes hit a refugee camp and locations in Gaza City. Israel has not commented on the strikes, which come as the country presses forward with its offensive. Over 60,000 mourners packed in Arizona Stadium for a massive memorial service for conservative activist Charlie Kirk, where his widow, Erica, delivered an emotional message.
That man, that young man, I forgive him.
The 31-year-old was killed earlier this month by a single bullet in front of an audience on a Utah campus. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was arrested after a manhunt. President Trump struck a less forgiving tone when speaking about the man charged with Kirk's murder.
God willing, he will receive the full and ultimate punishment for his horrific crime.
Trump accused the so-called radical left of fueling political violence, adding that the Justice Department is investigating groups he described as maniacs who promote unrest. President Trump name-dropped some prominent billionaires who could be involved in a possible TikTok acquisition.
Larry Ellison's one of them. He's involved. He's a great guy. Michael Dell is involved.
On Fox News Channel, Trump said Rupert Murdoch could also be part of a potential deal. It's the latest twist in the saga that would keep the popular social media app running in the U.S. The White House is looking to find buyers for TikTok since security concerns have been raised about the app's Chinese ownership. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre took the long road back to the House of Commons this summer after losing the election and his seat last spring. But his political future is not guaranteed. CTV's Jeremy Sharon has more on Poilievre's next test.
The honourable leader of the opposition.
A highly anticipated return to the House of Commons this week.
My mother taught me never to be late, so please forgive me for my late arrival to the session.
But it took Pierre Poilievre a by-election win last month for him to get back here after he lost his seat in Carleton, a riding he'd held for 20 years as his party lost the election. Now the Conservative Party leader's next test is just months away.
One more question, if you permit me, on another vote that you're going to face, and that's the leadership review in January. Do you have a magic number?
No, I don't believe in magic.
In a one-on-one interview on CTV's Question Period with Vassy Kapelos, Poilievre said there's no specific level of support he's looking to get from his party, even when pressed again.
Do you have a number at which you think you need in order to remain as leader?
I don't know.
Why not?
I'll be working to win over the people of the Conservative Party who will be there, and our message will be that I'm the leader that will bring forward the Canada, that will restore the promise of the country.
The Conservative Party's constitution requires a leadership review if a leader doesn't resign after an election loss. According to the latest data from Nanos Research, Poilievre's personal popularity is more than 20 points behind Prime Minister Mark Carney's.
A leadership review is sort of like a family meeting, right? It's not the public's perception of Pierre Poilievre right now that we're worried about. It's the party's perception.
But Conservative strategist Larissa Waller says there is no worry within the Conservative Party.
So the family's actually pretty happy with the performance of the leader.
Poilievre's leadership review will take place in January in Calgary, the home of his new riding. Marcia?
Thank you, Jeremy. Today is World Alzheimer's Day, dedicated to drawing attention to the staggering growth of dementia cases and real concerns about the ability of the healthcare system to deal with the rising tide. Here's CTV's Kamal Karamali with a hopeful look at creative ways to cut through the fog of memory loss.
How much is that dog?
It may not look like it, but what you see here is David Estrin and his daughter Simone fighting back against dementia.
How much is that dog in the window?
Arf, arf.
With what they enjoy most, music.
That looks like something I made.
And art.
It looks like someone I know.
I grew up singing in different places.
We've been able to take art classes together. You've been going to choir.
Becoming a more common way to help people living with Alzheimer's, sparking memories and feelings.
It provides stimulation. It's really been shown to improve people's moods, help relieve stress.
During the last couple of shots.
Here at the Health Sciences Center in Toronto, they're learning new ways to detect and prevent Alzheimer's earlier.
The next decade is going to, I believe, see the breakthroughs in delivering treatment.
And that's good news because in the next decade, they're expecting thousands of more patients across the country.
So we're talking about staggering numbers in Canada.
Right now, there's roughly 750,000 people in Canada with dementia. That's according to the Alzheimer's Society of Canada. By 2030, that's set to increase to nearly 1 million people. And by 2050, more than 1.7 million Canadians will have dementia. But whether Canada's healthcare sector is ready is another question.
The main way to avoid this tsunami of dementia is to spend the dollars now to develop research on prevention and treatment so we don't have to treat those patients in 5, 10, 15 years.
For this father-daughter duo, they're working with what they have to keep David's mind as sharp for as long as possible.
My dad gives me hope. I mean, seeing how you're handling everything.
And hopes treatment options can catch up.
That was beautiful, Dad.
To save him.
Yeah.
Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
85 years ago, Canadian pilots joined Allied forces to defend Britain from Germany in a significant win early on in the Second World War. Today, Air Force troops across the country commemorated the Battle of Britain. Here's CTV's Alison Bamford on how the fight is still guiding young pilots today.
A moment overhead to honor a pivotal battle fought in the skies above England. Royal Canadian Air Force and Armed Forces members commemorating the 85th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. Among those in uniform are pilots in training, motivated by those who flew before them.
It's our history. It's why we do what we do.
The 1940 Battle of Britain lasted 114 days. Allied forces defended the United Kingdom against Nazi Germany in the first battle ever fought almost exclusively in the air. Many of the Canadian pilots didn't have a choice but to learn on the fly.
Back then, some of these young men only had 10 to 20 hours before they were sent off into battle.
The Battle of Britain ended October 31st, 1940, but commemoration ceremonies like this one take place in September to mark a major turning point for the Allies.
Hitler threw everything at us, and what they thought was easy pickings turned out to not be so much, and completely changed the mindset of the Germans once they lost.
More than 100 Canadian pilots joined the fight. 23 of them lost their lives. Irishman John Paddy Hemingway was the last surviving Battle of Britain pilot. He died in March at the age of 105. They all left a legacy that these members say will be hard to forget. Ken Hawkes served in the Royal Canadian Air Force decades after the Battle of Britain. He wasn't a pilot, but he looked up to those who were.
They reached out to us in so many ways.
A legacy that will live on through the next generation of Air Force pilots. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Moose Jaw.
A turbulent start to the school year for thousands of students at Dalhousie University in Halifax. Classes are finally set to start Tuesday after a bitter labor battle. Here's CTV's Paul Hollingsworth on the challenges of making up for lost time.
After more than 3 weeks, the lockout is over and Dalhousie University students are relieved.
I came here to go to class.
Unionized professors, librarians, and counselors have been off the job since late August at an impasse over numerous issues, including wages. They have returned to work, and on Tuesday, students will be back in class.
Now I got to actually get up early and do some work, but at the same time, I have an actual schedule to follow now.
Most classes were canceled to start the school year, which was a tough pill to swallow, especially for students who paid a lot to come here from other parts of the country.
I would say somewhere in the ballpark of $30,000.
James Law is relieved his daughter will now begin her studies, but he's against canceling the reading break to make up for lost classes.
Years in the past, we didn't have a first-term reading week, and we knew the impact that had on students, and a first-term reading week became crucial for students' mental health.
According to first-year law student Rose Silvestru, the lockout has caused a breach of trust felt by students.
We showed up and we said, here's my future, Dalhousie. Take it and safeguard it and give us what we need to succeed. And Dalhousie took that future and it put it on the bargaining table like a cheap bargaining chip. And I'm not happy to be a cheap bargaining chip, and neither are other students.
Rose Silvestru also says starting the school year this way brought with it a high level of distraction and uncertainty for the entire student body. She wants the university to offer a reduced tuition rate.
We paid for a full semester. At this stage, we're only going to get about 80% of that semester.
Dalhousie professor Lauren Sheehan says students are asking reasonable questions.
How much time are we able to recover from either the reading break or a longer extension into December?
Sheehan says as the university ponders those questions, professors and students are all excited about classes resuming. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
In Newfoundland and Labrador, dozens of families have returned to ruins after devastating wildfires devoured their homes. A group of volunteers are now on the hunt to help salvage precious keepsakes. Here's CTV's Garrett Barry.
The ashes, rubble, and foundation are all that's left of this home, the retirement dream of Deborah Coombs in Western Bay.
I had a root cellar and a barn and a woodshed and a workshop and the house, two-story house.
She's searching for memories, things left behind when she fled this home as wildfire approached last month.
One thing that I was really hoping to find was my great-grandfather's cribbage board. So it was over 100 years old.
Today, help from Team Rubicon, a group of mostly volunteers who are sifting through the ashes for keepsakes or valuables.
You get sort of personally committed when you get down into somebody's foundation, and you really want to find it for them. And if you can't, it's not a good day.
It's an emotional job. These volunteers come from all over the country. There are even some who were once on the other end of the deal, having their house examined and picked through.
A number of our members are people who used to be people we've helped. And so we know it does have a positive effect on a number of people because they end up joining us.
One of the biggest losses here in Western Bay is the school, Cabot Academy. It was, of course, the center of the community, and it's not clear whether it will be rebuilt.
Maybe these communities will never be the same. It certainly looks that way as you approach from the highway.
It's been a lot to try to get used to and to imagine the families that were here, the homes that were here, the love that was here. And now we have ash and rubble.
All the more reason for Team Rubicon's volunteers to try to find whatever they can. After about an hour here, maybe a small breakthrough.
This is the heaviest, and your cribbage board would probably be made out of a hardwood.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that probably what's that cribbage board.
Deborah said she wasn't much of a crib player, but this and some other keepsakes will go into a new house here. She's hoping to rebuild on this very site. Garrett Berry, CTV News in Western Bay, Newfoundland and Labrador.
Coming up, taking a scoop out of the bottom line.
So this is what we've been experimenting with right now.
The all-time favorite flavor that's under threat. The global cocoa crisis has taken a big bite out of inventory for some ice cream shops. The shortage and higher prices are threatening to change at least one fan favorite at a small shop on PEI. CTV's Maria Saru has the scoop.
A test batch hits the mixer at Holman's Ice Cream. The shop's go-to cocoa powder is no longer on the shelves, says owner Daniel Meister. So the race is on for new recipes.
We wouldn't dare take chocolate ice cream out of the lineup. It's a very popular flavor.
There are backup batches of the staple in the freezer, while the team hunts for the right replacement with a similar fat content and color. Alternatives exist, but sometimes at quadruple the original cost.
So this is what we've been experimenting with right now. I think it's about $600 for a 20 kilogram bag of cocoa. That 20 kilograms will do 5 or 6 batches of ice cream. It makes a significant difference in our cost.
The math matters even more for small businesses. Holman's already raised prices by $1 earlier this year. Cocoa costs have surged since late 2023 due to production challenges in Ghana and the Ivory Coast caused by climate change. Some companies have cut products altogether, says agriculture expert Sylvain Charlebois.
They knew they couldn't sell some of these products at a higher price, essentially. So they stopped carrying some of these products.
His advice is not to rely on a single source. Instead, businesses and manufacturers should have a few suppliers for important ingredients. Holman's has more than 100 handcrafted flavors in its repertoire, with 16 in daily rotation. Some will need tweaks.
The triple chocolate still passes the taste test, and the team here at Holman's hopes its new recipes will be just as good. Maria Saru, CTV News, Summerside, Prince Edward Island.
Still ahead, flying high in Toronto. What uncorked the celebrations? The Toronto Blue Jays have officially punched their ticket to the postseason.
Ground ball to second. And the Blue Jays are going to the postseason.
The Jays are the first American League team to clinch a playoff spot, knocking off the Kansas City Royals. The Bluebirds now have their sights set on the division title, which is almost within reach. The Jays hold a 2-game lead over the New York Yankees with 6 games to play. Canada sprinted to a silver medal in the men's 4x100-meter relay at the World Track and Field Championships. Despite the really wet conditions, the foursome of Andre DeGrasse, Brendan Rodney, Jerome Blake, and Aaron Brown posted a season's best time. To reach those world-class times, these competitors could have used some tips. Traditional French waiters raced through the streets of Paris, walking briskly while balancing a tray loaded with coffee, water, and a croissant. The amusing event raised awareness about the crucial role of the café in French culture. Still ahead, thousands of runners going the distance to show support and appreciation. We leave you tonight with a run that unites soldiers and civilians. Thousands took over the streets of Ottawa to honor the men and women who served and sacrificed. Here's CTV's Josh Morano on the meaningful mission.
In front of City Hall, 82-year-old Fred Clark is warming up for the Canada Army Run Half Marathon, a race he holds close to his heart.
I was in 5 years, so I've got close buddies still in the military, and I relate to their cause, or to the veterans, and especially the wounded and the families, so it's an honor.
Thousands of participants alongside him showing their support to military members through exercise.
The vets that I know, none of them are really requiring aid, but again, I do realize that there are a lot that do, and I think we should show our respect. I think it's almost an obligation as far as I'm concerned.
Particularly now more than ever, I feel it's really good to support our military, but also just to support family members that have suffered.
The funds raised go to support our troops and Soldier On, helping with everything from rehabilitations to family programs. The course finished at the Canadian War Memorial, where Artisan Biba crossed the finish line with the fastest time to complete the half marathon.
Army is a big part of our country. It's great to be a part of this cause. I've been running it last year, and I'll probably be running it many more times again in the future.
It's directly impacting the lives of serving members and their families. So we thank everyone who registers is doing a part, whether it's showing support, fundraising, and coming out and cheering or volunteering.
For Clark, he says it's not just about crossing the finish line, it's about showing support for the men and women who serve.
To the Canadian Army, to hang in, be bold, and we may be tested at some point in time, and I'm sure they're up to it, and we're proud of them.
Josh Morano, CTV News.
That is our newscast for tonight. I'm Marcia McMillan. From all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night.